So, of course, crews all around California are working around the clock to try and make sure that we do not see more devastating wildfires. Ground Force Noelle Bellow shows us what they're doing.
Using chainsaws, heavy machinery, and controlled burns, crews with the U.S. Forest Service are trying to turn the tide on the West Coast's worsening wildfires. It's a multi-billion-dollar cleanup of forests choked with dead trees and undergrowth. By logging and burning trees and low-lying vegetation, officials hope to lessen forest fuels and keep fires that originate on federal lands from exploding through to nearby cities and towns. The scope of the task is evident in this view of California's Tahoe National Forest, where mountainsides are colored brown and gray with a number of dead trees.
I think the forests as we know them in California and across the West, they're dying. They're being destroyed through fire. They're dying from drought, disease, and insects. They're dying at a pace that we're having trouble keeping up with.
After work was delayed last year, Forest Service crews and contractors recently started taking down trees across thousands of acres. The efforts have drawn criticism from some environmentalists and locals for cutting down too many of them. Steve Evans with the nonprofit Cal Wild is one of those critics.
We're asking the Forest Service to make their treatments lighter, to focus on smaller trees and shrubs, leave the larger trees, and ensure that the scenery, the recreation opportunities that people enjoy along the North Yuba River are protected. This is an important area to us, and we don't want to see it burn up, and we don't want to see it logged over.
In the Tahoe National Forest North Yuba region, small towns tucked into the forest canyons escaped disaster 2 years ago when the Dixie Fire raged just to the north, destroying several communities and burning nearly 1 million acres in the Sierra Nevada range. Those communities also escaped the Caldor Fire to the south, which burned more than 1,000 homes and structures. A year before that, the North Complex Fire killed 16 people and torched more than 2,000 homes and structures in the region. The same conditions that whipped those fires into infernos exist in the Tahoe forest. Densely packed trees and underbrush primed to burn following years of drought. And computer models suggest this area is more vulnerable to wildfires on federal lands than any other space in the country. Federal officials say the thinning work is making a difference and will lessen wildfire dangers by the end of the year in more than 200 communities across 10 states.
People will have to get used to seeing a less dense forest because that's a healthy forest. But right now, they're pretty dense and pretty crowded.
Matt Millar with the National Forest Foundation says forests can bounce back.
I once heard someone describe forest thinning and logging operations as open heart surgery. You know, afterwards, it's not a pretty sight. It can look a little bit rough, but forests recover and they're very resilient.
Noelle Bellow, Ground 4 News.